What if I told you you've been lied to about success and that it's not about the money or the job title or the car in your driveway or the watch on your wrist or the clothes that you wear? What if it's something that's much quieter but far more powerful? I'm going to tell you all about it. One of my best friends growing up reached levels of success that very few people could ever even imagine, like making probably over $1 million a year, but he never could find happiness. It's not that he just had this overwhelming drive to succeed. He did have that, but he did it. I think a big part of it was because every time he would hit a certain benchmark and he thought that he would find happiness, it wasn't there. It was at the next benchmark. It was the next level of income, the next bigger house, the next, I need a yacht. He just couldn't find what he was looking for. And he definitely didn't find it in the money that he made. Unfortunately, he tried everything, and drugs was one of the things that he found. And now he's actually dead. And it's funny, he used to call me I can't ever remember if he used to call me his poorest rich friend or his richest poorest friend, because he didn't understand how I had the things I have with the small amount of money that I made. Because I was always able to live below my means, and I was never chasing titles don't get me wrong, I wanted to make a lot of money, especially when I was younger. But at some point, I just found that those benchmarks weren't bringing me happiness. I've had cool cars and I've had cool houses and I've done cool things. But the older I got, I finally realized that the happiness was found in being content with the things that I have already. Success brings a picture in your mind of a certain type of person. And in America, especially, it's someone with a fancy car and fancy clothes and a big house. And working 80 hours a week is probably just part of that. And that's part of getting to success. And when you live outside of the US and you can get another perspective of that, one of my wife's good friends is a doctor, and he actually moved from Spain to Tampa and worked there for a summer, I think. And he couldn't believe the hours that the people worked. He couldn't believe the way that people lived with just no work-life balance. He saw the money he could be making here and he didn't think twice about ever wanting to move to the US to make 3 times as much money as he could make here in Spain, because he was much more content and much more happy with a lower income in Spain than he would be working twice as long for 3 times as much money. And he just didn't see how anybody could find any happiness or contentment in that. He didn't know how people looked at somebody, doctors, with no family life and no work-life balance. He couldn't fathom how people thought that was successful. Have you ever heard the expression, when you chase money, it runs from you? Or there's another one, if you chase your passions, money will come. But if you chase money, you'll never find your passion. These little cliches exist because they're true. Sort of like stereotypes. A lot of times they're funny because they're true. So the more you chase money, the more that's all you want. And that becomes your obsession, and it's all you can focus on. And it doesn't have to just be money. It could be the job title, the promotion, whatever success is to you. The more you're chasing that, the less you're going to find actual contentment, which is where you'll find true success in life. Chasing all those things leads to burnout. It leads to anxiety, depression, bad health, overweight, not getting any exercise. There's so many things that are just pushed out of the way when you're obsessing to get the success or the money or the status. And all the things that come with contentment are better relationships, less anxiety, more time to pursue passions or make relationships better, or sit and contemplate how good you have it, practicing gratitude, appreciating the things you have already, better mental health and clarity. Look at a monk, it's a Buddhist monk, say, who has nothing. Their contentment comes from seeking enlightenment. That's the only thing that they're after. And this, being content doesn't mean that you're stuck and you can't ever want anything else or achieve anything else. It just means that you appreciate what you have and you're happy in the place where you are. You know, look at me. I've moved to the Virgin Islands and I've moved back to Florida. Now I'm here in Spain and we're going to go back to Florida for a little while. I'll be back here in Spain. I'm content with my life. I'm not content to sit on my ass and do nothing else for the rest of my life. I just started another YouTube channel about life here in Spain. I'll link to it here or there or somewhere in the video if you're interested in living in Spain. But contentment doesn't mean you're done achieving anything or doing anything. It just means you have gratitude and you're happy with the place where you are in life. There's a lot of people like this. Look at minimalists. Sometimes I think minimalists are just people with ADD that took it too far. But I think a lot of minimalists do find a lot of contentment in having less things and just less clutter and just having less things to worry about in their life. And I think that's sort of like the same thing with contentment. It's not about having more. It's about having quality and about having your time and appreciating, again, just appreciating what you have. And there's practical steps you can take in this journey. A big one, like I talked about before, is the gratitude, appreciating the things that you have already. And another one is just to stop comparing yourself to others. That is a big one that just, when you think, like my friend who isn't with us anymore, if I wanted what he had, if I was always comparing myself to him, I never would have measured up, first of all, but like in the success arena or the money arena, I had to find my own peace and be happy with what I have. I've got my own path and I'm happy with where it's at. You know, I went broke back in 2008, lost my house, lost 3 houses, lost everything I had. And people say, well, gosh, what if you could go back, what would you change? And I always say I would change nothing, because all of that led me right here to where I am right now. And I have a wonderful wife and a great life, and I wouldn't change a thing. I had to go through some bad things to get where I am, but that doesn't mean I would erase any of those, because who knows where I'd be now. So what is success for you? You know, do you have some monetary goal, then you'll be successful? Do you have some work goal or title you need to achieve? Or what do you think success looks like? For me, it's having my own time, being financially free so that I can work if I want to. I don't have to go to work if I don't want to. I can travel, I can do what I please. And that is, to me, that's success, is owning my time and doing whatever I want to do. That's my idea of success. So you really need to ask yourself, what does success look like, and figure out what goals you need and what steps you can take to get there. Leave me a comment down there. Tell me what you think success looks like for you, or what you think contentment looks like for you. What would you need to feel content in your life? For some people, they might feel content if they had $10 million in the bank. Like, we're all different. Some people might feel happy if their house was paid off. So leave me a comment down there. Let me know what you think success and contentment look like, because they might be one thing, they might be 2 things. But thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, because only like 70% of my viewers are subscribers. So I appreciate a subscribe down there. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.